Thank you very much. In our quest to demystify the identities of an ex convict, especially those who have come out of custody, we found out that there are three things that give a very wrong identity to somebody, especially those who have come out of custody. And let me say this: many a times we don't differentiate between a person who has committed an offense, or a person who has committed a crime, and a criminal. Those are very different things that we need to understand as a community. And that is the very essence or the very reason why, when people come out of custody, they find it very difficult to be embedded back to the community. The very relatives that they were together suddenly reject them. It's because of the identity tag that has been vested upon or been tagged upon the persons who have been incarcerated. But at this point now, we find it very important that we need to separate the two identities in our legal awareness or community public awareness, to teach the people that the criminals and the persons who have committed a crime are two different things. Just the same way a Catholic father mentioned that a prisoner is a human being too. They are also humans. And we also need to understand that when a person has been incarcerated or being taken to custody, he has been part of the community. And the fact that we have so many prisons, we have so many persons in prison, it simply means that the community is affected. And these people who are in prison did not come from the blues, they came from part of us. And so it is very crucial for you to understand that these are not separate identities, or these are not separate persons who came from some other place, they came from you. Secondly, we also need to know that these are products of the community that has ejected them. Let me say, for example, if we have an outbreak of a disease, that particular community will be taken for quarantine. Why? So that they don't spread the disease to other areas. And so when somebody is sick, is taken to hospital and is admitted to stay there until he is recovered, on general terms. Similarly, when somebody is sick of an illness of offense, he is admitted to a prison for correction. And when he comes out, you accept them. Just the same way when somebody is taken to hospital because of an illness, after treatment, he comes back to the society and she is also accepted anyway. And for example, if you have somebody who you have confirmed dead and taken to the mortuary, and suddenly along the way he resurrects and gets back to the society, do you kill him back again and take him back to the mortuary? No, you accept them back to the society. So, what is it about the persons who have been incarcerated that you find out that you don't need them into the community? If you can accept somebody who was resurrected from the morgue, and you can accept somebody who has been in hospital for all that long time, then why can't you accept an ex-convict who has been discharged after serving a term? It is something that it's a debate that really people need to have an honest discussion about, and accept and understand that ex-convicts and convicts are also humans too. So allow me to demystify the issue of identity when it comes to criminality. Either person who has committed an offense or a person who is a criminal. Of course, those terms almost coexist together, but we need to understand who is who and what is what. Now, the difference of this between those two and two identities goes back to the intent. Remember, in every judicial process or any litigation, the offense or crime in actually almost every offense in criminal proceeding has got the element of intent in it. So for something to have been occurred, there has to be established the intent. Now, when somebody commits an offense willingly or unwillingly, then that is where intent has to be identified. And that is what makes the difference between murder and manslaughter. For example, you are walking around and you knock just somebody and he falls down and that is the end of it. That's not murder, but it turns out to be manslaughter. And again, if you really defend yourself clearly on that matter, you are likely to be acquitted or given a very short term because there was no element of intent. But look at somebody. For example, we had an incident of student burning school. One, arson is a life sentence. But for children, it's a different definition of it at the end of the day. Children do not suffer or are not convicted for life sentence or death. Now, the procedure of committing the offense is sequential. So that if at initial stage you have done something that leads to another, and it is well orchestrated and planned to a complete successive accomplishment of the offense, then that now satisfies the element of intent. But without that, then you cannot justify or prove intent without the process that I've mentioned. And therefore, for anything to be identified as a person who has committed a crime and a criminal, intent has to be considered. Then the other thing also that we need to understand is something to do with the frequency. How frequent is this person committing an offense? Because when you look at the community, and even you personally who is watching and listening to me, on many occasions you have committed an offense. Let me say, for example, you have talked ill about somebody within your community, within your clique, your friends. You've talked ill about that person. That offense is called a defamation. And you may find it that it is very so minimal that you really don't consider. But until somebody goes to court or goes to police to report the matter, that's when you realize that everybody has always committed an offense. Talking ill about somebody. Let's go to Christians, for example. Many Christians talk ill about another church. For example, blaming these are not Christians, these are spreading bad gospel and all that kind of stuff. The moment you talk ill about any other belief or any other religion, it is unconstitutional, it is illegal. So we always commit offenses. You have insulted somebody, called him a bastard, a fool, or whatever kind of name. It is derogatory. You have lied to somebody. That is perjury. There is so much that we do that if we really were to give an account of what we have done, many of us would be in custody. And therefore, we need to understand that many have committed the crime, many have committed the offense, but they are not criminals. And so the distinction comes in now with the issue of intent and frequency, so that we avoid the social identity that we tag in among people. There are instances where we have people who constantly have to commit an offense. 1 week they are in prison. After they are released because of maybe minor misdemeanors, after a short time you find them in prison because of 1, 2, 3. Those are now people who carry the identity of criminality because of the intention that it's their lifestyle, and the frequency of offense is so current that it becomes an habit. It's habitual for that. So they gain the societal identity that when you meet that one, beware. So that is now the essence of criminality. So anyone who breaks the law has technically committed a crime, and that's what I've just mentioned here. So the label of criminal is generally reserved for someone who intentionally, habitually, or professionally engages in illegal acts as a way of life. That's a lifestyle. We have many government officials who commit offenses of bribery, corruption, and all kind of stuff, but they are still amongst us. So we need to understand that when somebody has just committed an offense, is convicted, that was his day. Then when he comes out, we accept them. Just the same way we accept people who are admitted in hospital, those who are resurrected after being admitted in morgues, they still come back to life. We accept them as they are. And so that's why when we have, for example, children who have committed offenses, we say children who are in conflict with the law. We don't identify them as criminals. They are in conflict. They are at war with the law. Now, when we have a person who has committed a crime, this is someone who performed an unlawful act. He just committed an unlawful act within a given time, and that was it. But a criminal often specially refers to someone who has formerly been convicted and still reconvicted and still keeps doing offenses in a very in so many cases that is well known in the community. So when we have such people are coming back to the society, my plea and my word for you is let us accept them back to the society so that we build them up, because they have been rehabilitated, they have changed, they have been transformed, and so to speak, because I have encountered quite a number of them in our training with through Yellow Ribbon Initiative in Indasulere prison. There are so many young men who have been convicted or who are still in remand for an offense they never committed, because the society is so hell-bent on putting people in custody, and we're working out to make sure we have a bill or a law so that when you find when you are found to be, in fact, I think the law is there, the perjury. When you are found to have lied in court and somebody has suffered, you should go back and pay the same compensation or retribution. You just go back to the same place where he was, so that you are punished the same way because you misused the judicial process. And this is something that the community has to understand. If these are not the things that you can sort out in the community, better understand that issues affecting persons, a life, don't play around with people by just rushing them to police and reporting them on cases that they never committed. Just ensure that you sort out things at home which are sortable. But of course, there are items like defilement cases, murder, robbery with violence. Those things are state offenses that can be handled. However, if these are things that you can handle them within community, we advise that you sort them out within yourself for a better and cohesive society.